Hey guys, Josh Denbeaux, Consumer Protection Attorney. It's been a bit since I submitted my last video. Been a lot of time, been a lot of things going on in my life. As you can tell, the location has changed. We've moved. Things have changed in my life. Still practicing law, aggressively pursuing bad actors in the finance industry and elsewhere. I'm specifically talking about SBA lending right now. SBA is Small Business Administration, which is a fantastic program to support small business. Because it's fantastic, the moron running the country is probably going to cancel it because it's a good idea, so it's obviously on the chopping block. Fucking idiot. In any event, the SBA loans, what they are is a government support for entrepreneurial spirit for small business. AT&T doesn't need an SBA loan, but some guy or some lady who's got an idea to open up a new way to make widgets and support industry and make a living and send their kids to school and do whatever you need to do as a middle class American, that needs supporting, and it's risky. And the upside to government, to society, is huge. You get a successful business, the loan gets repaid. The downside is the government back lending, so takes a little bit of a hit, but not a lot, because the lending isn't, just willy-nilly out there. What they do is, to apply for an SBA loan, you have to submit a business plan, you have to show collateral, and usually you have to put your own house up. That's where this comes in. Your house is collateral. So the SBA lending program isn't a traditional private lending. So your house doesn't automatically get forfeit if the business doesn't work. And you can imagine that COVID blew up a lot of small businesses. So the federal government, United States government, and the state governments are not supposed to be out there foreclosing on people's homes through SBA loans. They're just not supposed to do that. Now, the loans do need to be repaid in ways that are compliant with the guidelines. And the guidelines are, look, if the business failed, it failed. And if the business failed and there's collateral from the business, then that gets sold and paid off the loan. Nobody has a problem with that. If with an SBA loan, somebody buys a deli and the deli doesn't work, but the building has residual value, then you sell the building and you give it to the lender who's backed by the government. All right, that's easy, no problem. If there are accounts receivable, no problem. If there's intellectual property that's of value, you sell it and it goes to pay down the loan. But what happens if there's leftover and the only thing left is the collateral of the primary residence of the entrepreneur whose business didn't succeed often these days because COVID blew up the world's economy? Do they just go and take the house? No. But regional banks are doing it anyway. Regional banks are violating the rules. So the rules are very simple. If it's not an ongoing concern and all of the collateral has been dissolved and used, then the regional bank has to negotiate with the borrower to make a reasonable solution that doesn't involve taking the house. Now, it doesn't mean that the borrower can sit there and say, I'm not paying you, I have a house, I'm just not paying. No, then you're supposed to get foreclosed on. But if you can make a reasonable proposal, then the lender must take it to the SBA, which under the guidelines is supposed to find a way to say yes. The problem is the regional lenders don't make money that way. Well, they do. They don't make as much money that way. So they're violating the guidelines. I have a case going right now where my client has owed $122,000 left over after COVID blew up his business. His home, he and his wife's home, is the remaining collateral. They said to the lending bank, whose name I'm not going to reference in this video. They said to the lending bank, look, we can come up with $80,000, take it to the SBA. And the lending bank said to them, no, we're not taking it to the SBA. You have to take it to the SBA. And my clients are not stupid people. They can read, but they don't have an attorney license. They don't know really how to litigate. So they're like, what is going on here? And I make an offer in compromise. That's what it's called. And the bank won't even go to the SBA to get permission. So they say, okay, fine. That's cheating. It's not fair. I can't afford a lawyer. I don't know what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a home equity line of credit from my home for the full $122,000. I'm just going to pay you off. Would you just please leave me alone? What happens? They go to ask for wiring instructions, and the bank files a foreclosure complaint. Now we're going from greedy and criminal to just criminally stupid. So what happens when a foreclosure complaint is filed, there's something called a lis pendens, which basically means that traditional lending is no longer possible. So my lender, my clients call the lender and be like, "What the hell are you doing? I asked for wire instructions to pay you off in full. Were you one of these idiots who can't accept a yes? Oh, I'm sorry." And they dismiss the foreclosure complaint. So my clients have to go back to the drawing board, pay more fees. Another 3-4 months later, they get back to another request for wiring instructions, which they send to the lender again, and the lender files another foreclosure complaint. At this point, my clients are like, I don't really know what to do here. I know they're stealing. I know this bank is stealing and cheating from me, but they're trying to steal my house? This is too much. I've got to find an attorney. They found me. So the attorney for the bank sends me an idiotic letter that threatens me with sanctions if I dare to defend my client's case. Well, you think that's going to work? That's not going to work. So I resolved that, and she explained to me, the attorney did, that an offer in compromise is an offer to pay in full. I wrote back and said, I have eyes, a law degree, and I read English, and I have an internet connection, so I can find the SBA guidelines and read them too. Guess what I found? That an offer in compromise is less than paying in full, because a payment in full is payment in full, and an offer in compromise is paying less than the whole thing. So what the hell are you talking about? Then she came back and said, okay, fine, we'll dismiss the foreclosure complaint so long as your client agrees to pay the whole balance. I swear, I don't know which is dumber, the bank or the lawyer. I mean, they're both really like maybe IQ in the double digits. You can tell I'm pissed off, but this is not going to work out well for the lender or the attorney. And frankly, at this point, even though I try to resolve cases in ways that just get things done practically, at this point I'm fired up. I am going to town on this. We filed a monster motion. I expect it to be granted, and we'll deal with it. And there's other things coming down the pike for this bank and this attorney. Here's the point of this whole damn video: to tell you a story. But more importantly, anybody out there who has an SBA loan that's getting railroaded, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. jdenbeaux at denbeauxlaw.com, and my cell phone is 201-970-6534. Both of them are down there in the comments, or whatever the description is, or whatever that's called, in the YouTube and wherever else I'm going to post this. But reach out to me. If you're getting railroaded by the SBA, and I'm only licensed in New Jersey, but I can hear from you from throughout the country, I can probably find a lawyer for you for this. Let's talk. I'm tired of these regional banks cheating. I'm tired of everything that's going on. I'm pissed off that our country is run by a criminal moron, and I'm doing my best to support people in this crazy time. All right, everybody, Josh out. There'll be more videos coming because I am fired up and pissed off at how many good people are getting hurt. Bye.